I'm Sean
And I'm Caleb.
with the Family Outdoors. In this episode, I want to go over my 3 favorite brands of cutting tools. So in this video, I wanted to talk about my 3 favorite brands of cutting tools. Now this, I can guarantee you, is going to be a different selection than anybody else has. Largely in part because I don't feel I need to spend a lot of money to get quality gear. Some of the stuff I have here you'll see is higher end for saws, for example. But a lot of the stuff you'll see that are my favorites are definitely not top of the end gear or equipment. So to start this off, let's go with saws. So my favorite saw by far is the Silky Big Boy, and I have drugged this thing through hell and back, through wet weather, dry weather, hot weather, you name it. This saw has been with me everywhere. It's a very nice saw. Definitely like it. It's a folding saw. It's big enough for most jobs, but small enough that you can operate it yourself with one hand. You don't need 2 people to be able to work away with it. It's a very nice saw. This I like to consider my abuse saw because I use it for everything. I pack it around everywhere. Never lets me down. The curvature of the blade allows it to cut really well. It's a fast cutting saw. Really enjoy this one. This is bar none, by far my favorite saw. You will see this in a lot of my videos. Comes with a nice case that I clip on my day pack so that I have it everywhere I go. It's light enough, it folds up small enough to fit in any pack. Definitely a good saw. Really enjoy this one. Now, when we're talking cold weather, extreme camping, there is only one choice, and that is the Silky Katanaboy 650. This thing is an absolute beast. You can fall anything with this.
Besides small stuff.
That is a great big saw. Now the reason I elected to purchase this saw is for my cold weather survival style camps where I'm just out in very cold conditions in Canada. So we're talking, negative 20, negative 25, very cold weather. This is the saw I would always take because there's only one fire that is going to keep me warm in that kind of climate, and that is a Siberian log lay fire, and for that you're looking for big diameter logs. You want to have 12 inches minimum on the butt for that style fire if you want it to burn for 8 solid hours with minimal maintenance. So yeah, this is the saw that I choose for those style camps. Like the Big Boy, it's a folding saw. It's got this extra locking dial on this great big one. You got to turn that in, but these, again, a beautiful saw. This is probably one of the most expensive pieces of kit that I own. It's a very nice saw. You definitely can't go wrong with something like that. This does have its limitations though. This isn't a going out and processing small firewood for a campfire kind of saw. This is for extreme cutting and needs to be treated that way. You need 2 hands to make this work effectively, and that means big logs that you're not sitting there trying to hold up and cut. Very, very good choice. So moving along now to some cutting tools. This is where people are not going to like my opinion. Is my favorite knife by far is Schrade. I love these knives. I abuse them. I beat on them. They have extremely thick tang on them. This one here is Schrade's survival knife. Beautiful knife. That's the Chef 9. It's got the fatter handle on it. Again, full tang, a thick full 1/4 inch tang. Very, very heavy. You can baton on this, you can beat it, you can, you know, abuse it really to the point of being silly, and this knife will hold up. It's a very, very nice knife. Really enjoy it. I actually don't mind the sheaths either. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I like the fact, I really like the sheath. I like the additional pocket. It's easy to pull in and out. I like the snap button on there. I never worry about losing it. And I like with the Velcro on the back here that I can put it on and off my belt without having to undo my belt. This one has been my go-to knife for a very long time. Again, it's another Schrade one. This one's the 52. A lot narrower handle. Just fits my hand beautifully. It's about a 3/16 tang. Again, your blade, you're looking at 7 inches long, just like the survival knife. A lot of you are probably wondering, why does he choose to go with such a long blade? There are far better knives out there. A few examples that I can almost guarantee people will throw at me are Essie, Tops. There's lots of brands of knives that are extremely popular with the bushcrafters that cost a lot of money. The reason I choose Schrade, and I choose the models with the long blade on them, for a lot of my camps I don't like to bring a lot of stuff, and I want each tool to be able to do a multitude of things without fear of damaging or losing that tool. So if I go with a 7-inch blade with something like the Schrade, I can use this knife and I can baton with it. It's heavy enough I can chop with it if I want, but it's still able to do the fine work like notches and stuff like that. You know, this knife has never let me down. You guys have seen this in a lot of videos. Really enjoy this knife. Schrade, to me, when you're talking bang for the buck quality, what you pay for what you get, you can't go wrong with Schrade. I really, really am a fan of these knives. Definitely enjoy it. I like the finger choil and the dimples on the back for your thumb. It feels nice, this knife, and it's big enough to use for anything. It can be a one-stop tool if you need it to, and you can use it without fear of it getting broken. And it's big enough to perform pretty well every task, but small enough to perform the finer tasks. Definitely a great knife. I also have the little Schrade neck knife here that is a companion for my 52. This one's the 57, and it weighs nothing. I keep it on this additional little pocket along with the ferro rod, just because when you get into them real delicate tasks, I've always got a tiny little knife. Cutting cordage, even simple little things like that, I'll use it lots for that. Definitely are great choices in knives. Don't be fooled by thinking you got to spend a lot of money to get a good quality knife. You don't have to. For me, I didn't have to look any further than Schrade. Absolutely love these knives. Definitely my go-to choice, and they're very friendly on your pocketbook. So, last on my list of favorite products in terms of cutting tools is Cold Steel. This is the Cold Steel Bushman. This is the Bowie model. When I first got this knife, I thought it was very gimmicky. but it has turned out to be a rock solid performer. I've grown accustomed to the case, which is a little bit cheesy, but it does the job. You can attach a ferro rod to it. This knife, for having such a small tang on it, I have abused it a lot. You've seen last spring in Caleb and I's survival camp. This was the knife that I chose to take with us. It worked really well. Was very impressed with it. I've used it a lot since then. It is an extremely light knife, so it's not as good at chopping as, say, the Schrades, but it still is a very good knife. It's versatile and it's decent. Caleb passed me this stick to show you guys that the handle is hollow and that you can put it on the end of a stick, a little bit longer than this and more green, to throw it like a spear, which is another one of the ways that Cold Steel is marketing it for multi-use tool. It's a very, very decent knife. Again, very inexpensive, and Cold Steel really torture tests their products. So definitely a mention from me that I love the Cold Steel products. Now, continuing on, by far my favorite Cold Steel product is the Cold Steel Special Forces Survival Shovel. This thing is a beast, and I absolutely love it. Any of you that watch alone seen that Fowler, who also has a YouTube page, Fowler's Makery and Mischief, if you guys want to check that out, he has a lot of awesome content. He chose to take this tool on alone, and you've seen that he used it all the time. These really are a great tool. You use it a lot more than you would think you ever use a shovel. I keep my edges razor sharp on my shovel just because I like to use it for an axe. I like to make feather sticks. I like to just play around with it in general because, again, like I said, I like one tool to do a lot of jobs. You can see I've already broke the handle on this one, which is fine. A little bit of time and you have yourself a new handle, which is another perk of using anything with wood handles, is you can just make your own. Since then, this handle's been on there for a long time and hasn't let me down, but Cold Steel has made some fantastic products that are very unique. This is another one of them, and by far my favorite Cold Steel product. Love this thing. Now, to wrap out the video, I've also got the Cold Steel Trail Boss here. You can see this is a fantastic little axe. You see me use it in a lot of my videos. It's a boy's axe, so it's only 24 inches long. It's heavy enough to do decent splitting. This thing outperforms a lot more expensive axes. If you look around on YouTube, you'll see guys making claims that they rank it up there with products like Wetterlings, which is a pretty big brand when it comes to axes. And to be, for a cheap axe like this, which was I think $40 Canadian, to be ranked up there with some of them heavy hitters like that is quite a feat for Cold Steel. To make a product at such a price that ranks with the big boys. It's got a hickory handle on it. I put the ruler mod on mine. Again, just something when you're doing bushcraft stuff, you want one tool to be able to do a lot of things. I wasn't a huge axe fan at all until I picked up this axe, and I really started to use axes a lot more. It's a great tool, and bang for the buck. Again, you can't go wrong with this. I would suggest anybody getting into it, you're looking for something that's going to perform for the big boys for a fraction of the price, this is it right here. So those are my 3 favorite brands when it comes to cutting tools. Now, with subjects like this, of course, everybody's opinion is going to differ. Caleb, what are your 3 favorite cutting tool brands?
My favorites are Schrade, Silky, and Mora's.
Mora, again, is another very inexpensive brand that is very good. Excellent bang for the buck. I don't personally rank Mora in my top 3 favorite brands when it comes to cutting tools, strictly because of the fact that they're I don't like that they're not full tang. I can't baton with them. They're a real short, real thin tang. It just doesn't fit what I'm looking for in a knife. Not taking anything away from them. They are fantastic knives. They do an excellent job. Great product. Scandi grind. You gotta love the Scandi grind. It works really well. But the point to this, I suppose, was to show if you ask 10 different people, you're gonna get 10 different responses on what their favorite brand of tools are. Anyways, thanks for watching this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I just want to take a little bit of time to go over my 3 favorite inexpensive brands for bushcraft.